Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we discuss my thoughts on episode 5 of the anime series,恋は雨上がりのように, or Love is Like After the Rain. And I really loved the relationship dynamic going on between Tachibana and Kondo's son. I think his name was Yuto. You know, there's almost a familial dynamic going on, especially later in the episode, after she's been kind of left in the closet, left hanging for a long time, sweating her butt off and getting dehydrated, and I mean she passes out practically, and then they kind of do the cliche thing where, you know, spilled a drink on her, gotta go do her laundry, you know, whatever like that, but it's all cute and it's all funny, it's non-threatening, anything like that. It's just absolutely adorable, the entire dynamic, but especially this sort of building of the bond between, you know, Tachibana and Yuto, and how that's kind of, you know, an extension of her trying to develop some kind of relationship with him. I was really reminded of the anime Sweetness and Lightning, with this dynamic, a single father and a younger girl, potentially kind of sort of filling the void of a motherly figure, even though they kind of answered to my speculation and my curiosity in this episode. You know, was Kondo a single father who was, you know, the guardian and caregiver for his son, or was the son off with the mother? And it seems tentatively that, you know, it is in fact what I speculated, that no, the kid is off with the mother, you know, the majority of the time. He comes to the restaurant looking for his dad because he's got a brand new hamster and he's all excited about it. But it's also, as we find out as the other leg drops, it has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, I want to show off this hamster. It's, Dad, please take my hamster. Mom doesn't want it at her place. And but the hamster was adorable. Every time he's munching on, you know, cabbage or whatever, reminded me of my pet, you know, Chiyuki. He's a gerbil, and gerbils and hamsters are kind of similar, but he's an all-white, you know, almost looks like albino because he's got red eyes, but he's actually just another kind of breed of gerbil where they look like that. They're not actually albino. But thoroughly, you know, the adorableness of this hamster reminded me of him, and just the whole adorable kawaii, you know, relationship dynamic unfolding. It really felt kind of like a burgeoning family, even though, you know, Kondo, for his part, he's been in denial about Tachibana, and he thought, you know, he'd pretty much dug his own grave with their going to the movie, and he seemed undesirable in his mind to her, and so this probably would have put her off, and that's kind of what the way he's been maneuvering around her. So because of his own anxieties and you know, uncertainty about being with a younger woman, and what would she see in me, I have nothing left to give, and everything like that, as I've talked about in my previous episode discussion videos. You know, it's just really heartwarming, though, to see that there is something there, you know. And it's even like with Tachibana later in the restaurant, everyone is gobsmacked by the fact that, you know, he's going to be the caregiver for this hamster. It's technically his kid's, but he's going to take care of it, and he's completely out of his element. Everyone is offering advice. It seems everybody in this restaurant has had a hamster at one time, you know, and you have Tachibana constantly trying to hand off this like folded up piece of paper, and I'm like, okay, what's this going to be? And sure enough, she had dedicated some time to actually listing off a bunch of things he would need to know, how to care for the little hamster and everything like that, what to feed it, and how to set up a home for it. And it's hilariously adorable how she starts to get kind of jealous at all the attention that he's getting by everyone else in the restaurant that has had hamsters and wants to be there as a guidepost to, you know, give advice and things like that. And she's really sort of miserly about the fact that suddenly, you know, this guy I have the love lights for is getting all the attention from everyone else, all my co-workers and everything like that. So she puts a stop to that right quick, you know, and then hands over the note and everything, and there's a little bit of blushing embarrassment on her part when I think she's not aware in the moment she's impetuous, you know, she's not aware in the moment that she's kind of overstepped her bounds by being a little forceful, a little pushy, but I think they really linger on her expressions so as to give the vibe that she suddenly realizes, you know, immediately thereafter, like, oops, maybe maybe I went a little too far. Maybe I was a little too pushy and everything like that, And Kondo himself, it's really interesting how he's begging of himself, why am I so concerned with being a well-liked boss? When Yuto brings Tachibana back to his apartment, his single apartment, she's looking over some of the books that he has, and there are some volumes talking about being a likable boss, being a nice guy and everything, growing a rapport with the people working under you, such like that. And so it is something he has been consumed with already, but I got the impression when he's asking of himself, why am I so concerned with this now? Why am I basking in the glory of all this loving and, attention and affection sort of that I'm getting, harboring, from the people working under me because I have a hamster now, everything like that. Why is it something I'm so noticing is kind of the gist of it. And in that moment, I was kind of thinking, in a way, he's trying to rationalize the interest Tachibana has in him. He sees like a lot of his own life as being worthless. Like it's already a life done lived. He doesn't have anything more to offer the world, to offer anyone who could prospectively be, a significant other, someone in a relationship with, to develop a companionship with, even a friendship. But, I mean, he's used to being off on his own. He's used to being called smelly. He's, everything like that. So he's kind of just, this is his lot in life. He just feels like he's worthless. He's never going to gain affection or attention or friendship or any of these things. And so when he gets it, it catches him off guard, but he basks in the glow of it. And when everything is said and done, and when the other leg drops, it's concerning to him as a stemming off of the fact that Tachibana has a deeply profound romantic interest in him. I mean, she flat out says, I really would like to get to know more about you. I mean, what are you reading all the time? What are you, consumed with when you have private time alone by yourself, when you have days off and everything? And I thought it was hilarious how they kind of play up how potentially off-putting he might seem to her because he's not clean shaven. He's, wearing lazy t-shirt and shorts, and he went out to get like some small snack food, like convenience store food. Not really well-to-do, taking care of himself. Maybe he's not capable. Maybe it's just symbolic of the fact that he's given up on himself in a lot of ways. But I think he's really trying to rationalize, wrap his mind around how much of an interest she has in him and what she sees in him. And for the failing that he sees in himself, that self-consciousness where he sees himself lacking, he's trying to make sense of it. So he's consumed with basking in the glow of the affections and attentions of their surrounding coworkers, because it's somewhat of a rarity. It's not something he frequently has or experiences. And if he can sort of put that in its place, fit that puzzle piece into its allotted space, maybe he can make sense of what in the hell this beautiful young woman who reminds me of my youth, why she gives me the time of day, why she seems so smitten with me, why she's so, overbearing in her, whatever her interests are, whatever's behind that. I think he's so consumed with it simply for the fact that it goes over his head. Where is this coming from? How do I have anything? How do I possess anything that, she finds not only redeeming or valuable, but attracts her to me, that kind of thing. He's trying to make sense of it. And the entirety of the episode, once again, it was funny. It was adorable. I really love the development of that dynamic between Tachibana and his son. And because that's part and parcel with everything. I mean, you could say the cold, harsh reality of the scenario of his age and everything like that. He's a single parent. All of that might come crushing down on someone else who is disingenuous, who is experiencing a passing fad. But she's accepting to the child. She's making friends with him and growing a rapport with him, and they spend time watching the little hamster eat and just in the company of each other. And if they have that comfortability, it stands to reason that this is something that could develop. as a familial thing. And I love that. It really warms my heart. Another thing I have to say about this episode is the fluidity of the animation. From the movements of Tachibana as she's sort of stirring up, whipping up the eggs or the omelet or whatever it is, to her putting her shoes down on the floor. Like, there was just a really expert, almost, telegraphed movement and form. And it just, this series is so spit and polished and beautiful and meticulous looking. It's just gorgeous to me. In all of the expressions on the characters' faces, from Kondo, the slack-jawed Kondo toward the end, to the angry Tachibana, to the awestruck and curious, they close in on her face, and the beautifully animated eyes and all the details there, the colors and the cascades, and whenever she has those love lights and bubbles and all these effects start floating around her, and the entirety of her surroundings changes colors, it's just beautiful. But I really appreciated, that fluidity of movement in those moments. A point where the kid's running ahead of her when he's taking her back to his apartment and things like that. It was really awesome. I really loved the visuals, the visual flair along those lines, almost down to like a rotoscoping, and how realistic the movements were. But, so yeah, in case you hadn't already gotten the hint, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode once again. I really love this growing and developing rapport that's going on, but, it's still moving slowly enough to where I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if they end up together or not. I lean in that direction as far as any sort of hopes or wants that I myself might hope to see, as it culminates, but it could still really go any which way. And I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if they're going to end up together or if Kondo's going to find some self-worth and understand that, she actually has this affection for him and it's legitimate. And maybe, have a brand new lease on life where he feels that's failing and lacking for him. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 5 of the anime series Koi wa Ameagari no yo ni, or Love is Like After the Rain, if you've seen it as well. If you got as much, fascination and excitement out of it, felt it was as adorable as I did and just enjoyed it thoroughly as I did. If not, why not? Let me know that in the comments below. Or POVs can certainly disagree. You could have a completely different tack, hated every minute of it. Just wanted to scold, Tachibana for yelling at her coworkers, for swooning over the fact that Kondo has a hamster and his relishing that and everything. Maybe she transgressed and you can't look past that. Let me know whatever your thoughts were in the comments below. Always love having that conversation. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. If this video finds you well, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.